till the truth starts to click. There's so much space in this bed.
What a way to start the pod.
Right. So fire. I literally love her music.
Hey guys, we're back.
We're back another week. We've been so consistent lately. Like, I give that to us.
I like how we kind of go with what we feel. We don't we do it.
We do.
We go with what we feel.
Yeah, because last week we had set to record, but spiritually, like mentally, we were just like on the same page without communicating.
Right.
We're just like, we're gonna take this week to woosah.
Yeah, it's crazy because when you told me, you were like, hey sis, let's not do a pod, I was like, I was thinking it, but you said it.
But I was thinking it.
Yeah, because she literally said it, and I was thinking it. I was like, and she said it, and she came through with what was supposed to happen.
Period.
Yeah, we just flow.
Yeah. I love how real we are and how we're growing to become more of ourselves, because not everyone gets to be that way.
Right.
Because you don't always start off that way. I feel like for a very long time, speaking for myself, growing up, you're just a product of your environment. Like, you are what you see until you get away. Because I always believe, like, once you get away or be on your own, then you're able to experience your true self. You're able to make real connections and real relationships and kind of like branch away from what you've always known and form your own sense of identity. But I say all of that to say, like, we're in tune with what we're feeling, and we don't go by hustle culture. Like, we gotta record this week because our views are going up, or like it's not even about that. And when you make it about that, that's when you fail.
Yeah, and it works for some people, and it's gonna work, and it's gonna get people to a certain place, because that's what hustle culture is about. You know, it's like hustle, hustle, hustle. Otherwise, you'll always be stuck in the same place. Otherwise, you'll never elevate. But that's hustle culture. And then, what would you consider weak kind of?
Okay, so that's like when God isn't in it. Yeah. I want to say like you're in full control and God's not in full control of what you're doing.
Right.
Because God is not going to make you hustle without taking a second to come back to him, without taking a second to reflect. And I think that's the difference between us. We were able to be like, you know what? Let's take this moment. Let's have some grounding. Let's go back to our roots. Like, let's just breathe, and we'll come back next week. Because, and then that shows. That's why you see a lot of people successful, and they're very unhappy. They're not in tune with themselves, and they're good on the outside, but when it comes to their inside, they don't know what to do. It's like you finally made it. You pushed yourself so hard that you're burned out.
Oh, what a topic, because I've heard there's a spiritual mentor that I have, and he talks about how a lot of billionaires come to him for trying to find themselves because they don't know who they are, because all they knew was hustle. And they didn't listen to that part of them where being in tune, it actually takes you further, and it aligns you more with what God actually wants you to be. And why wouldn't? Well, I get it, because before I chose to decide that I wanted what God wanted for me, I used to be like, nah, because I want this, and I want materialistic things. I want my dream life. I want to have this. I want all that. And then when I surrendered, and I was like, I got to a point where I realized that that's not even what I really want. It was actually what society had influenced me to want.
Right.
It wasn't something I genuinely wanted. And I realized, because this, you know how you wanted to do vision boards the other day? And I was like, I'm not going to do it. But when I had vision boards, I actually went back to my vision board to take some things off, because I realized that the things that I wanted were actually to be seen by the world, not because I actually wanted it. And if everyone can go to their vision board right now who has a vision board and can checked and see the true principle, the true reason why you actually want those things, you'll realize that half of everything that you want is actually to be seen, so people can think that you are worthy because, oh, now you got all this, now you got this lifestyle, now you got these clothes, now you can fully be seen. But it's like a reality check. It's like, who really are you? The same way you were talking about your form of identity.
Well, actually, my vision board was more so like a quotes type of thing. And
that's what I was thinking afterwards.
I've been buying, like, I went to Michael's and Target, and I bought like a bunch of, I don't know what you call those boards, but white boards, and then just like the plain boards that I can pin things on.
Okay.
Because I want to keep the prayers that I know like are so powerful up there, so I can look at it, so I can walk by it and like repeat it every day.
I like that.
So it wasn't more so like a flashy, like this kind of car, this type of thing, because those things are gonna come.
Yeah, it's gonna come after the purpose.
It was more so the inside. Yeah. So because I just feel like you don't truly know your power unless you are in prayer. Like, your prayer life is so important, and if you realize that you are a child of God and the access that you have to heaven, like, that makes hell nervous. Like, that shakes the world when you repeat that and when you believe it. And that's what I'm on. Like, not even more so the I am worthy, I am loved, not even the affirmations, because it's like, affirmations help, I do believe, and you say those things because you want to believe that you are worthy and you want to believe that you are whole. But okay, let's do a little bit deeper work than that. And bringing back, like, from having this conversation, I like being in tune, like, it goes back to that conversation too. Yesterday I started to feel like my spirit a little off, so I decided to be in stillness and sit with God and pray and cry out and fix my heart posture, because I don't want the things of this world to get into my heart. Like, it's so precious. So
yeah, no, but yeah, my life changed when I realized that half of the things I had on my vision board was to be seen by the world.
yeah, I get what you're saying though.
Because the hustle culture, that's what it is. It's like, I want this, I want this, I want this. Then you get it. Then you're like, well, this doesn't even fulfill me the right way. And so it's different when you, like, going back to what we were talking about, it's different when you follow what your calling is, what you feel intuitively, what your heart actually, like, is pulling you towards, your gifts and your talents. And that's actually the hardest part, because then you have to actually believe in yourself, in your true authenticity. But people can't find their purpose when they're so focused on the external, when they're so focused on attaining, on getting, on being consistent. It's not even about that. How about you align yourself first, come back to source, come back to God, come back to yourself, and realize that where you are is exactly where you're going to be. And once you start saying, you know what, I surrender control over my life, because I know that regardless, all I really want is to serve my purpose here. All I really want is to follow what the divine, like what is divinely has been written and orchestrated for me. That's like a whole different level, because that takes you to a whole different level of success that you never would have imagined for yourself.
Yeah, because it says in God's word, like, the plans that he have for you, ears haven't heard it, eyes haven't seen it. Like, it's bigger than what we could ever imagine for ourselves. And I told Aurora before we started, I was like, you know what, we should have named this episode like Surrendering Part 3, because, like, to be completely honest with you guys, we have been surrendering. Like, I feel like I'm in surrendering 101, 102, 103, like, is becoming real life. Like, you really have to be careful what you ask for. And I've been experiencing a lot of that into my life. And there's been times where I feel myself trying to take control of something, and automatically I'm able to snap out of it and be like, you know what? Give it to God. Give it to God. It's not yours. Like, and just everything has been aligning the way it's supposed to and not the way that I want it to. And it's so beautiful. And it's like, oh, I see it. It's not easy. It's hard. Like,
that part, I was going to say, even though we say, God, I surrender to you, sometimes it's not all the way what we actually want in this moment, but it's what our higher self knows we need. And that's normally what happens when you surrender to God. You just say, okay, I want what you want from my life. I surrender control because I realize that I'm worrying way too much. I like to say, you know, before we come into this world, we don't worry whether God is going to give us our heart, our organs, our eyes, our hair, blah, blah, blah. Then we come into this world and we say, you know what, God, we got it from here. Don't worry about me. I got it. It's like, hello? Do you know where you come from? Do you know who you are? You're a divine child of God. You're not in control. You can co-create, but you're not fully in control. And everything just aligns divinely the way it's supposed to, and with flow. When you release that resistance of saying, I'm in control, my ego's in control. Normally it's your ego in control. When you want to say, no, I want this. I'm going to have this figured out. And I want to get married, and I want to do this, and I want to do that. And you have all these plans for your life, but you forget that, oh, wait, God doesn't think the same way you think.
Yeah.
You know,
a lot of the times we know what God is telling us is best for us, but it's hard to walk in it because, like you said, control. I don't know where that comes from. Like, I think it's just like living in this world, being in the flesh, and it has to do a lot about your relationship with God and your spiritual walk and how you feel about that, because there's so many people that don't go to God, and those are the people that are in control of their life, and they're like driving their own boat, and they feel like things are fine until they crash, and then
they feel hopeless, and
guess what, God's still there.
But then they go through depression, and it's something that, I mean, not to say that, I mean, I feel like the moment when I was depressed at one point in time, I was not connected to God.
Oh yeah,
I was in my control. I feel as if I lost myself because I didn't know who I was, knowing that I was the divine child of God, until I reconnected and made my relationship stronger with God. That's when I came out of that, and I said, oh, I'm exactly where I need to be. I appreciate everything in my life, and I want what God wants for me, you know. But that's depression, and I feel those dark places are really because you're not leaning into your full team that's on your side. You know, we're spiritual beings living a human experience. This isn't who we are. This is a part of the ride.
I agree. I give it, this episode, like, God's all over it, honestly. From the moment we stepped in here, from the moment we prayed, to pulling out our whiteboards. And in the past, y'all know in the last episode, we pulled out our whiteboards and we had our week, and we wrote. We
jotted down notes.
Yeah.
Like, this is what we want to talk about.
We switched it up. We tried to do it our way, like, and write or whatever, but it's a part of surrendering. Like, so we ended up like erasing everything and just putting it to the side, and like, you know what, surrendering 103, you know.
Yeah, I was crazy to me because I saw you write down some things, and I was like, I don't know what to write.
Yeah,
I don't know. And then I said, I think I'm gonna go off of you, like everything that you say just kind of bounce off of you, because I don't know what to say. And I was like, oh, okay, this is the surrendering part again.
Yeah, like we're still having our walk through this, and we're gonna forever have to surrender. It's not like a one-time thing. But
this is what it looks like. This is exactly what it looks like. It's that moment when you're like, oh, okay, this is what's gonna happen, this is what's gonna happen, and then you get to the thing and you're like, oh, this didn't even happen that way. And it looks, it's kind of scary sometimes, but when you're in faith, you have faith over fear. Yeah, because you know that regardless, everything's gonna come out the way it's supposed to.
Right. And faith and fear cannot live at the same time.
That's two different frequencies.
Yeah, just like you can't have control and surrender at the same time.
Right.
So you have to pick one. And like that goes back to saying, do you want it your way or do you want it God's way? Because God's way is going to be a lot better. You might not think that right now. You might have to go through something right now. And you know what? I was in Target the other day just having a chat with my sister on the phone, and we were just talking like about life, and we were like, of course, silly. Of course that's not going to go the way that you wanted it to.
Right.
It's not meant for you. Duh. Like,
Heck yeah.
and it's so funny when you actually take the time to reflect, like, oh my God, why isn't this working out? Why is this job not working out for me? Why is this relationship not going the way I want it to? Because it's not supposed to. Because if it was supposed to be that way and you were still at that job, then you would never quit the job.
Ooh.
Like, you would be so comfortable and so happy that you wouldn't do your purpose. You wouldn't show up for that.
Yeah. Something is coming to my consciousness right now, and it's about how we pass limitations. Like, there's gonna be times, I feel like I'm in a transformative season right now, because I feel like I'm in this place where I'm letting go of things that I need to let go of, and I'm in this place of knowing that I'm going to the next level, and it's that letting go phase, and that part where it's like, okay, here we surrender. But I wanted to say that because, like, with my job, I feel like I have gotten to a place where it's finally, it used to be my ceiling, now it's my floor. With relationships, it was my ceiling, now it's my floor. With a skin condition that I had eczema. I always had eczema. And I used to be like, oh, I'm going to have to live with this all my life. I'm going to have to deal with this. I'm going to have to wear all these creams, take care of my skin this way. I can't do this. I can't do that. They used to tell me I was allergic to the sun, like so much stuff. I went through so much stuff in for like 20 years, all my life. And I got to a point where I realized that itself was a limitation. It was limiting me from living, and I said, you know what? I'm realizing that I can actually reprogram my mind and also believe that there is healing to me.
Yeah.
There is healing. Like, a lot of us feel that we're so encaged in whatever limits that we set on ourselves, that we've been told all our life or grown up thinking, without realizing that when you connect to God, there's healing.
Of course.
There's surpassing limitations. There's breaking through the chains of your past and breaking generational curses and traumas and everything. Like, there's another side to your pain. And my pain was always going through that. But the moment that I had the insight, and I was like, oh, I keep telling myself the same story, believing that I actually have to live with this, when in reality, a belief is only a thought that's been repeated over and over. So if I can repeat to myself over and over that there is healing for me, it's possible.
Yeah.
It's a belief that I can create and that God can give to me if I believe it.
Right.
So I got to the other side of that, and I said, oh, and now my skin doesn't break out the way it used to. Now I don't have to check myself for my skin all the time. That was my biggest insecurity. And because I completely surpassed that limitation that I was setting on myself because of what everyone else was telling me in the world. Like dermatologists, my parents, everyone was telling me. It was a program. And even with my job, I'm surpassing that right now, because I know that I'm worthy of more. I know that I'm deserving. I know that I can use all my gifts and all my talents in one thing and get paid for it and live like that. Right. I know that it's possible.
Absolutely.
And even in relationship areas, I know that it's possible that I can attract my dream man. I know I deserve it.
Right. And we were literally even on the phone, like, there's people, not bashing anybody who has a family now or who has someone that they are married to or in a relationship with now. But we were on the phone and we were like, of course our kids aren't here yet. Like, we're not, we're not there yet. Like, our kid, we still have to experience more. Like, that's a blessing when God doesn't give you that in a hurry. Right. And it's a blessing to see, to watch it unfold, and the fact that you're still becoming the woman that God called you to be, and that there's more experiences that you have to go through and more levels that you're going to level to
Right.
before they get here, because the person that they're going to meet isn't going to be the person that you are today.
That part.
And thank God, because
I don't want them to be.
the generational curses that you're still breaking, if they were to come down, they're not broken yet. And then when it even comes deeper to the person you're in a relationship with, if they're not healing themselves or they haven't broke their generational curses, like, it takes two to be one.
Right.
Like,
yeah, I always said, I always said I didn't want to be a baby mama, I want to be a wife. Just because that's what I want a team.
Yeah.
I want a team to build a family. I want that. No, not even, we don't have the certainty that our partner will always be in our life and will be a secure partner and that will be there with us as we grow into a family.
Right.
We don't have that certainty. Like, we will never know. We don't know if tomorrow's our last day. You know, that's life, you know.
we don't.
But it's beautiful when you create something and you align with someone. And that's what I was telling you, that I feel like if I had my kids, what I want to start getting into practice of is knowing who I am and affirming that to myself.
Yeah.
So my kids can repeat that to themselves.
Absolutely.
You know, to say you can create the life that you deserve. You are worthy of the life that you deserve. You are respectful. You are this and that, and building those principles within themselves. And I still haven't fully gotten there yet. So I'm grateful that God hasn't given me what I thought I wanted, because sometimes what you think you want, you're not ready for.
Exactly.
If you think about it.
And it's really God's blessing, like, over your life. I look back at times and I'm like, I'm getting in my business, but I'm like, that could have been me. Like, I could have been there. Like, and I'm just so grateful, because the plans that he had for me, I know they're big. Like, I haven't even seen my best days yet. Like, oof, that just gives me chills, and it makes me excited to be in the present and not be in the future. I was actually watching this show earlier, and you know, when you're working on yourself and you're in line and you're just on your spiritual walk, you gonna take something for everything, like,
right?
Anything. Like, it could be a dog,
that's a sign.
a cat walking across the street, and like, baby, what am I gonna take from this? Because why does the cat wait for the
it's like, maybe I should take that same thing.
Maybe I should not wait. Look, maybe I should not wait for the cars to cross and just go out there.
Maybe
because it's meant for me.
Right? No, but we really be like that.
We really be like that. But I was watching the TV show and the lady was pregnant. It's called Sisters, y'all. Shout out to Tyler Perry. I love like that. But shout out to him. Anyway, I'm gonna work with you one day. I'm just affirming that now. But so I was watching the show and the lady was pregnant, and she didn't know who the baby daddy was, and her mom was there comforting her, and she was like, no wonder you're so stressed out. And she was just worrying about, like, well, what if this and what if this? And her mom was like, Christmas. And you know what? It brought me to something that I used to say myself. I used to call myself out for thinking about, like, the future before it got here, like 10 years later down the line, 5 years later. And I used to be like, Christmas, like, to myself. And when she said it, I was like, oh, I'm not the only one that said that.
What
like,
does that mean?
So Christmas, if I say, like, oh, Christmas to you, like, that means that you need to live in the present. Why are you so worried about what's going to happen 5 years, an hour, 2 hours from now?
But
like,
why Christmas?
Why Christmas?
Yeah.
Because, so how it relates is the...
like, why Christmas? Why you say Christmas for? Why don't you just say present?
Because the baby, basically, when she was a little girl, she used to always be like, oh my gosh, mommy, I can't wait to see what I'm going to get next Christmas, like on Christmas. So it's like...
Right.
Yeah.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Like, be here now.
Right.
There's so much power in that. Because, I don't know, even my thoughts earlier this morning were like, I think so much about my purpose and what I want to do with my music career and the things that I want to start doing and the future, that I'm not in the now. And it happens to all of us, even on the spiritual walk.
It's so
that
real.
we are always And I just remind myself, I go back to, oh, okay, for example, after here, I'm going to go see my family. And I'm like, oh, okay, every Sunday I'm going to go see my family, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to go hang out with my family. But I see it more so as a routine sometimes, instead of, wow, I get to see my family today. Some people don't.
Right.
Wow, I have my complete family. My family's healthy.
Yeah.
And even the part of having fun in the journey too. I feel like that's a key essential thing to do when you're so focused. You got this tunnel vision, you're working on your craft and you're getting better and better every day. Just remember to have fun.
Ooh.
Have fun.
And yeah, don't get to that point in life where you're too busy and you're too like caught up in your craft that you don't you're not grateful for the things around you that you have, because you're so busy caught up on an idea of like who you could become. Because what if time flew by so fast and the people around you like
disappear?
Yeah, like who are you gonna have then when you make it?
I have a story for that this past week. Because I wanted to talk about this, but you were like, let it flow, and now it's flowing in.
Yeah, come on, flow.
I love it. But my mom had this 50th birthday party, and I decided to sing to her. And the first song was with my cousin, who's a singer already and has been doing this for years. And as you guys know, I just started actually taking my time to do this and put diligent work and time and effort into this last year. And so I sang that song with her first, and then I sang 2 songs by myself. And I got to the point where all of that was done. I had done it, cool, everything. But afterwards, I didn't even want to see videos of me, because you send them to me. I didn't even want to see them until like 2 days later, that I was like, I guess I'll see them, because I felt like I did so bad. I was like, that was the worst. I was so hard on myself.
Yeah.
So hard on myself, even though people were like, but you did good. I was like, no, I didn't hit this note. My voice was cracking. I skipped the words, this and that. And you know, the couple of past episode reels that I said, it's okay, we're human, we make mistakes, so what? Look at me coming back to that, because it's really, you be your own teacher.
Yeah.
But in those moments where I kept looking at the negative things that I did wrong, blah blah blah, someone reminded me. They were like, hey, but you did it in front of over 100 people. And I was like, he was like, be happy, be proud, be grateful that you were even given the opportunity to be placed in a room where you get to do that. And I was like, oh yeah, oh, I forgot to be grateful.
Yeah, sometimes we forget. I mean,
I needed that reality check, because I was so stuck on, I didn't do this right, okay, so what? My vocal coach was like, girl, you're just getting started, why are you so hard on yourself? I was like, okay.
You need people in your life that's able to bring you back to reality and bring you back to that sense of gratitude when your head is too big.
Yeah, I was so stuck on that. And then I sat back and I said, okay, let me be grateful, because I need gratitude. Almost brought me a sense of relief. It was like, instead of putting your focus, and that's a big, we were just talking about that. We listened to a sermon. You sent me one by Sarah Jakes about how, like, your focus, when you're focused on, you remember I told you, when you're focused on the bad things, you don't see the good. When you're focused on the good things, more good things happen. Right. And I don't know if you want to kind of talk about what the sermon was talking about, the lady, but it was such a good thing sometimes you have your trash on the side. Or what did she say? Yeah.
She said it's something about a lot of people are in the season where they are trying to, I'm going to put this in my own words. I'm not going to say it word from word. I'm going to just put what I took from it. A lot of people are in the season where they're going back and they're looking in their past, and you're trying to grab you're digging in your old trash, trying to grab from that, like your purpose from that, and looking so backward that how could you move on from that? Like, how could you move? Like, when you stay in that spot where you're looking from the past, you're not able to bring it back to living in the future. I'm sorry, not the future, the present. You're not able to live in the present. And not only that, but she was basically saying, what you need to do is take those old thoughts, your old way of being, and put it to the side and just like bless it and turn the other way. And what I took from that was me living in my life. Sometimes things will come up, or I'm just in this journey period where I'm trying to become the best version of me, but there's still old things and old patterns that I have that I'm still working on. And you want to bring them with you when you're aligning to this new version of yourself. But you can't always do that. Sometimes you have to just break it when you're strong enough right then. But put it to the side, and those worries that come up, just like your situation when you were worried about like nobody was telling you, Aurora, you did terrible, or throwing tomatoes, pineapples, or whatever at you.
Yo,
like you were just literally thinking that.
My therapist said, great, you want to go through failure, you want to experience failure, you want people to throw tomatoes at you, but she was like, in this case, you're throwing tomatoes at yourself.
Right, different. But yeah, but nobody's doing that. And I think sometimes we worry ourselves out and we stress ourselves out on the things that we cannot control. And when you do that, I haven't always been this way, but now that I'm in this surrendering soft girl era, I'm learning to take the things that are not serving me and the things that are from my past and give it the attention it needs, and be like, okay, well, I'm going to give this to God now because I don't know what to do with you. Give it to God, turn away, and walk on and keep moving forward, because then you wouldn't even you're not going to miss it. Trust me. And it's so beautiful to think of what life would be after you finally stop thinking those old thoughts, stop taking the old ways with you, or stop becoming the person that you were. You're not her anymore. Yeah. It's just so beautiful to witness. But I had something and then it went away. So
yesterday, I went outside. I was in my house. I took the day to pour into myself. And I was in my house. I went outside to write, and I was in nature. I was in my backyard. And it felt like I was just so free. I was so present. It was such a beautiful moment. I was connecting to God and everything. And then I was like, okay, when I go back into my house, I know that my old thoughts are going to come back in. They're going to come back in. And what am I going to tell myself? And so I sat there and I was like, okay, I'm going to say, as soon as that thought comes in, because it's hard. It's hard. Those thoughts are going to come back in. Can't come back in, even if you know who you are, even if you stand in your power. They're still gonna come throwing at you.
Fight back.
But it's more so, it's not even fight back, because when you fight back, you give them energy and attention and give them power. So what you have to do is just kind of let it just kind of let it flow out. And so when those thoughts come back in, I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna surrender that to God.
But no, you do got to fight back. Because if you're having a thought and it comes in and it's like, you can't do this, or you're not worthy of it. I've learned to literally stand up for myself and say, I am going to do this and I am worthy of it. And you can go back from where you came from, period.
I don't fight. I don't say I fight back. I just, I do what you do. I kind of reaffirm a whole different opposite thing that I do want to believe. But I feel like it's not fight. For me, it's not fighting, because I'm like, I don't want to give it power. When you fight, you're giving it attention. So I just want to be like, and then reaffirm something that I actually do want instead of that one that I do. You know what I'm saying? I don't know if that makes sense.
Yeah, it's kind of almost the same thing, but a different perspective from looking at it. I guess mine's come from the sense of just bringing it up and saying, trying to dead it, right then, because when you do it that way, it goes away. But if you're just like, okay, sweetie, leave me alone, I know I'm growing.
Right.
It's gonna keep on.
Right. It's gonna keep coming back.
Just saying it with your chest, and how we learned to
talk about that.
No, you talk about it.
No, you talk about
Talk about it.
No, y'all. So I seen this TikTok of this lady where she was talking about how you can speak from different areas of your body. You can speak from your root, you can speak from your throat, from your chest. And I sent it to Daisy because I was like, oh, we need to do this. Because there's some times where we say some things on the pod and we're like, we could have said that with our chest.
Right.
And so
we meant that, but we said it so soft.
We said it so softly. And there's a way that you can tell when someone comes into the room and they're speaking from their root, it just shakes the whole room up. Yeah. And if you speak from your chest, you can also see. And a lot of the times when I'm so passionate about a topic, I speak from my root. You can hear there's power, there's passion into it, you know? And so like, it's like me saying, you are the, like, just see, like, I'm just gonna give y'all a demonstration. I'm just give y'all a demonstration. What should I say?
Just say a quote or something that you want to tell everyone listening and watching right now.
Surrender. It's like
no, but don't say sight. Be serious about it. That's something that you really want them to like get in their soul.
Okay, in their soul. And I'm gonna look straight at the camera too, so y'all can actually get it from me.
Get it. Okay. Get it.
So no, I don't look. No, he's insight. I always say insight. But
that's another thing we gotta work on. Y'all, we're our own biggest critics. We're working on ourselves though.
Yeah, and I even thought about that too, because I was like, I'm tired of me saying I'm not who I want to be. And it's like, I want to take accountability and I'm going to keep continuing to work on myself, but I don't want that pressure of like, I'm not who I want to be and being down on myself for that. Like, I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. Right. And I'm going to get there every day as I follow my intuition, follow God, follow what God wants, surrender, follow my calling. But I'm exactly who I am. Yeah. And where I'm supposed to be. Everything's divinely orchestrated. So but back to what you were saying.
What you just said, they're exactly where they're supposed to be.
I'm gonna just say that. Okay. You're exactly where you're supposed to be. You're not supposed to be any other place. Everything's divinely orchestrated. You don't have to try to be someone else. Stop saying that you are not the person you don't want to be right now, because I understand that there is another version and level of who you are, and that version of you actually lives inside you. But right now you are who you are because you're supposed to be her, and eventually you will get to that point. Oof, did I say that with my chest or
with your soul?
I almost felt like
she said it with her roots.
You think so? I think I said it. I don't know. It came from somewhere.
I mean, you said it was like a mixture of your chest and your roots.
Yeah, it was like coming. I don't know. You say something with your chest.
Say it with your chest.
Come on.
Be for real.
Okay. Well, what are you so passionate about right now in your life that you feel like you could hear and like give advice to yourself, but also to the world?
Something that God has like been showing me.
Say it with your chest.
Whew. I have to take.
And we'll look at the camera too,
of course. So what I've been going through is, surrendering and just letting go of the things that don't serve me. But okay, I believe I'm ready, you guys. This is how I really am. Okay,
and
cut
action.
Action.
Ready?
Yes.
1, 2, 3, action.
It feels so script. I'm such a flowy person.
Go.
Okay. So that version of you that you once knew, you're not her anymore. She can't come with you. Leave her where she's at and go back to the source and ask God, who am I now in this season of my life? And look around and ask God for those desires that you want. Everything that you're going through and experiencing, bring it to God, and then He will show you exactly. But when He show you, don't be like, oh God, like, I don't know, like, I thought I was ready or not. Trust God. A part of surrendering is trusting God and letting go if that means let go, or moving on if that means moving on, or trying that new skill that you're so scared of that God told you you have the power to do.
Okay.
So that's all I'm gonna say.
I don't know why I don't know why. Maybe I'm like hallucinating or something, but I felt like there was smoke coming out of us.
Really?
That's crazy.
You're not hallucinating, sis.
Maybe it is the energy that was coming out.
Mm-hmm.
The energy that was coming out, like, while we were so passionate and like, and one time I had confused I felt like it was anger because I was like so loud about it and so straightforward, but someone corrected me and they were like, it's passion. And I was like, it's not anger, it's passion.
What's crazy is, like, I thought I was gonna speak, and like in the middle of it, I just lost control. Like, you know how you're speaking and you lose control of what you're saying? It's like, okay, God, is it you now? Because that didn't come for me.
I took something from that sermon you sent me because Sarah Jakes had said, she was like, you know, those moments where you're like, that wasn't even me. Yes, it was you. I was showing you who you are and who you can be. I was like, oh.
She's so powerful. Oh. Okay, so when you said something about when you were in solitude and you were sitting and talking to God, I was going to say, you were thinking about when you go back in there, how are you going to, like, you know, maintain. And when I was at Sarah Jake's conference last year, she was like, well, it was her because God has allowed it to come through her.
Right.
So she said, stop thinking about how you're going to go back there once you get home. Just be you. Just show up as you, because the people connected to you are going to see that fire in you and they're going to be moved.
I got the chills. Oof.
Like, it was the fact that I was like real live in my thoughts, like, okay, this is good, like, y'all listening to this episode right now and it's good, it's touching you, but you're worried, like, when the episode cut off, I'm not gonna do those things that just connected with my soul, and I'm not gonna be this person that came up as I was watching this episode. And that's a lie.
Right.
Like, just continue to do you and just go lose control. Like, lose control of your thoughts. Lose control of trying to be more than who you are. I don't know, like, because I feel like when we first started this episode, not this episode, but this podcast, we were just like, becoming the best version of yourself, so when that happens naturally,
right,
showing up, you're becoming her. Like, baby, if you're always so worried about becoming her, then you miss who you are right now. So that's all I gotta say about Z.
Yeah, I go back to that point that I said that I keep thinking. That's my problem. I need to stop thinking.
We need to stop thinking.
I need to stop thinking. If you're a Virgo, I feel like you feel me because this shit hard. But like, I think too much, y'all. I be thinking way too much.
And you need to lay your head down. Like,
no, I need to ground myself. That's what I need to do.
Yeah.
I need to go in nature more. I know it. I feel it in my spirit. My spirit tells me, go to nature, go to a park, go walk around by yourself, clear your head. You don't need, also exercise. Exercise. Haven't been in the gym in the past week, but I told myself, I was like, I'm gonna go back tomorrow, because tomorrow is Monday, fresh start, fresh new week, right? And I know that, like, even when I work out, it clears my head and I think less.
You know,
I disconnect.
Janae Aiko and her sound bowls and everything. And she has a sound bowl that I used to listen to on a daily when I was at this one point in my life. And it goes like, you are protected. Like,
trigger protection mantra.
And I would play that, and I would just like try to focus on just that. But you can get your mind to focus on positive things, or you can get your mind to focus on absolutely nothing,
right,
by sitting still, closing your eyes, and like just connecting. I mean, it's better when you're connecting with God, but just like nothing, like just try not to think of anything, because sometimes it's good to not always be rolling, like, yeah, because even when we're asleep, we're dreaming. Like,
we're still at work when we're sleeping,
but God does that for a reason. Everything that we experience in life is for a reason. And for me, I'm a dreamer. Like, I get messages in my dreams, and they're revealed to me.
That's so cool.
And there's been times I've seen when I've got like, I woke up and I always tend to wake up around the same time, and when I wake up, I get a whole poem, and I get to writing. Like,
that's good.
There's been times like that, but for the most part, I'll remember. And when I can't remember my dreams, I know I'm not in tune with the way that I need to.
Because you're a dreamer. Because I've gotten messages through my dreams too. I just feel, dang, I don't know. Now I'm in my head again where I'm like, I need to be who I want to be. I need to be even more tapped into, but I'm living.
Yeah, you are.
I'm living.
Give yourself credit for what you do.
I know. And I'm really hard on myself. I think me and my therapist have been working on that perfectionism part, because I thought I was over it because I was less hard on myself in other areas of my life. But when it comes to my own voice, which is my own instrument that comes directly from me, that to me, I'm more critical, because I feel like it needs to be a certain way, because externally I just want that control. But I have to be patient with the process, and knowing that my voice is going to get better, and that right now I'm exactly where I'm supposed to be. And I have a vocal coach, so we're working on that, and I'm doing vocal exercises. So I'm working on that part of my life where I need to be less perfectionist. My therapist was like, when I told her that I thought I was over that, she was like, I don't like that about you, that with certain things in your life, you think that you're so certain about it that you already knew it and had it going, and then you went back, but you were supposed to have it going. She's like you're
second guessing yourself.
She's like, no, she was basically saying that me always thinking and being certain of something that I am, and always, like, if something comes up and teaches me the same thing, I think that I'm going backwards, and that I'm not progressing, and that I'm not. She's like, you're always gonna constantly. She's like, stop saying that. Oh, I thought I had it figured out. Oh, I thought I was more grateful, and normally I am grateful, and normally this and that. Like, with the moment where I said that I wasn't grateful, that I was singing in front of over 100 people, that was something I told her. I was like, normally I am grateful, and she was like, stop saying that, like, normally you are. Like, you're constantly evolving, constantly progressing. There's going to be moments where you go back, where you go forward, go back, and go forward.
It's like you're afraid to not be perfect because you said, normally I am. Like,
that's even perfectionism itself.
Even the way that you talk and the words that you say, like, I don't know how I did that. Like, I'm normally, or I used to, or just the way that you talk is so important, and it tells you a lot about your process. And it's okay. Like, it's okay. Sometimes I do that when I'm at work. If I do something wrong, I'll be like, I can't give you an example right now, but I'll just not make an excuse, but say, like, oh, I knew this. Like, I knew this, but I didn't do this. Yeah. It's like, you knew it, but why didn't you do it then? Like, it's okay to make a mistake. And who made you feel like it wasn't okay to make mistakes?
Oh, I want to cry, because, like, why?
Life is a trial and error.
My therapist said, you think that you're not worthy. And I was like, I don't know. I don't know why I have this, like, belief that I have to be perfect. I don't know why I feel like I can't disappoint. Like, I have to be this, and I think I'm working on that. And it's hard to be graceful too, because all your life you've been like this on you.
Maybe it comes from, like, it always go back to your childhood trauma. Like, if I was a therapist, I'll start there, because us being the oldest, well, you're not the oldest child, but you're the girl, and I'm sure that they look at you like, yeah, Aurora's got it. She's going to do it. Like, my daughter's doing so good. My daughter's going to school. She's doing this. She's doing that. Then when you don't, they're like, why don't you want to?
That's my dad's voice that you're saying right now. And while you were saying that, I was like, no, like, while you were saying that, I was like, and I know that in my head. And I was like, and I know that. And even that is perfectionism. But I'm still going this and this. I'm still doing this. And I still feel like I need to be. And it's like, bro, and that's why I'm in this surrender mode. Because I feel like
it's a defense too. I had to ask God to help me work on like being offended and being defensive, because sometimes I feel like I take things like so to heart and so offensive, and it could just be my perspective. Like that could not be how you said it or how you meant it or anything like that. But anytime those things happen and you realize, oh, I'm offending, I'm like protecting myself. What am I protecting myself from? Why am I so on guard? And then even like when you're in your head and you're like, I know that, like, or you know, sometimes you feel like, oh, well, I already knew that this person think they're talking to me, but they don't know, like, That's already ego. Leveled up to that point. Like, I'm there, I'm speaking the same language as you. That's pride and that's ego too, because why can't you learn from this person? And sometimes you miss your mark because you are supposed to learn in this moment from this person. Just like we went through that season where you had to be a listener instead of a talker.
Yeah.
But it's good to know that like it's all a journey and that you're right where you need to be. And I wholeheartedly believe that you are. And I know that you're so worthy and you're strong. It's like almost when you see your friend, you just want to show them how worthy and how strong they are. But only you can show yourself that. Like that's up to you. And like earlier this week, we talked on the phone, y'all. I had the best energy in the world. I'm talking like, I don't know. Powerful. I was just like on a different level. And it's because I was surrendering and I've been working out and I've been working on the things that are on the inside, the things that the money can't buy me, like going to get another outfit or get my nails done, hair done, more equipment, like that stuff couldn't make a difference. But like what's in my heart and what's on my soul and like my physical body, and I just felt like on a higher level than normal. And I was on the phone with Aurora and we were editing, and I was just like, I feel like she had like a lower frequency, which is normally not her. Normally we're like that example you told me with the heartbeat, we're either high or we're low, like, and that's okay to alternate because we're human. That's what we're gonna do. But I think it's important to have the people around you that are going to allow you to borrow some energy when they're not there. Or that's what I don't know. What I'm really trying to say is I love you and I'm grateful for our friendship and that we can borrow from each other, and that God choose such a time and such a person, like, and he's so precise with it, and it just gives me chills. And
yeah, I think just me even showing up to this podcast when like all of this is going on,
talk about
has me like, well, I'm supposed to be here even though I'm crying, even though I'm not perfect, even though I'm showing up, you know.
Ooh, girl,
because I'm still showing up for what, like, God wants me to show up like this.
Literally.
Crying and just showing my true, authentic self.
Literally.
Like, I could be doing, I don't know why I decided to cry on the podcast. I could have been crying before I got here, but God was like, let it out. And it's coming out. And it's really hard, but I am learning that, like, this is all the way it's supposed to. There's a reason why you chose me to be your co-host. Because I have something to say. There's something in my heart that needs to be spoken and that needs to be said to the world, and that the world needs to hear me. Because I mean, you could have just been like, I'm gonna do this pod by myself, but instead I showed up with you, and instead I get to be your partner, and I'm grateful for this opportunity, because I do know that I've always had things on my heart, and I've never known how I'm gonna get it out, but it turned out that this opportunity allowed me to really put myself in a position where I get to be myself, and I'm really grateful for it. Thank you.
Of course, thank you. I'm grateful for, like, even we had a podcast before this. It was called The Soul Sisters, and it was 4 of us, and we would have probably never been this if we didn't have that. Like, and we would have never connected and got as close as we were if we never talked and opened up about our childhood wounds. Because really it was about like trauma and facing all of it. And if you go watch it, it's still on YouTube, like you see how open we were about just like expressing ourselves and what we went through. And I think that also connected us in a way where it's like, wow, like she actually like is a real person, like she goes through the same things, like she's real, like we both want to do this. And I could see that fire in you. Like, so when we decided to stop doing that, God had something better for us.
Yeah,
that's okay.
And it's crazy that like we decided to just like how sometimes I ask myself like, how did God know? Well, God knows everything, but like, you know what I'm saying, like she got the same exact passions damn near like as me, because one, you love the camera, I'm comfortable in front of the camera too. Like we used to do YouTube individually, like she used to vlog, I used to vlog. I modeled, you're a model, like you're that, you know. You also have, you're purpose driven, like we have that. We're just so in tune with ourselves. We both have that. We're so like, even though your way of spiritual practice is different than mine, we still come together and coexist and bring the message that needs to be heard. And I think that's the most important thing. You know, a lot of people think you have to, you remember that time that this man came up to us and he was like, why haven't you converted her to Christianity? And I was like, because she doesn't have to do that. She loves me just the way I am. And the point here is that we both believe in a God.
Right.
You know, and we don't judge each other based off of how we decide to love God or speak to God, whoever it's through. We get the point across and the messages get across. You know what I'm saying? And that's the most important part. And I thought that was powerful. It was like a powerful moment that allowed me to realize that like, oh, like this is bigger than us. You know?
Yeah, it was because who would have known like that moment would have came like. But something you said, you said how you showed up today. Like, I was just like, wow, because I started talking about how good I was this week. And then the rest of the week was ghetto for me. Like, it was real ghetto. And I just was like, I was a whole mess yesterday. Like, but this morning when I woke up, my eyes were puffy. I literally said to myself, how am I going to show up today? But I knew I was going to show up. Like, I knew I was going to. But I think...
You did it. You're here.
Yeah, we show up anyway.
We show up anyway, even though we're not at our best. And I hope that inspires somebody, because you don't have to start until you're ready. I love to tell people this all the time. Every single person that comes across me and needs to hear this message, I say, God does not call the qualified. God qualifies the called.
Woo!
And I hope you understand that. It doesn't matter how dirty you are, how unprepared, how not rich you are, how unskilled you feel like you are. You are exactly who you're supposed to be. You have that calling. You have that nudge in you that says start. Listen to it, do it, because there's something that you have right now that the world needs to hear, and there's power in that. Don't wait until you feel like you're ready. You're ready now. You've been called. That makes you qualified.
And if you're listening to this, you have a gift that the world needs to hear,
because not just everybody's listening to
this. Because the ones who get it and you better act like you know it.
Period.
So it's time for you to go show it.
That was a whole moment.
I know. I love it here.
I love you guys. Thank you for watching.
I'd be so happy like on my Sundays.
Not for real, because I'm like, what's gonna flow through me today?
Great.
But anyways, love you guys. Mwah.
Mwah. We always do something like that. Why did you speak this shit up? Oh, my leg has a huge cramp in it. You literally were like, I feel like we're gonna cry today. I said that, didn't I?